Hello, I'm Mark, and that's Sergio. This is the Ask Mark and Sergio, or Sergio Mark questions panel. We're going to do one of these every week until we run out of questions or run out of Mark and Sergio. How are you today, sir?
Pretty good, pretty good.
Good.
You're growing and mostly writing right now, but yes, I'm doing fine.
Very good. We asked for questions on the website and on Twitter and Facebook and other strange places, and we got tons and tons of questions, most of them the same. We have two questions that we got asked by like 2/3 of the people. So I can't list all the names of the people who asked all these questions, but essentially one question was, when are we going to get a big giant Groo omnibus reprinting all of Groo in hardcover? The other one was, when are we going to get a Groo cartoon series? Would you like to tackle either of these questions, sir?
The first one.
Okay.
I have gotten a few of those omnibus things. They are impossible to read. Sometimes you take a comic book to the bathroom and you sit there. You cannot hold one of those gigantic things. It's very uncomfortable. To read is the same. It's absurd. Okay, so it takes one space, but I don't understand omnibuses. I don't care for them. If the publisher wants to do one, hey, we get money for it, so we'll do it. But I don't care. You know, I don't know. It just doesn't make any sense.
Well, I think it makes sense to people who don't want to run around and try and collect every issue of Groo for the last 85 years or whatever how long we've been doing this book.
Collecting and reading had nothing to do with me. They want to collect, fine. But to me, it's you read an issue and you put it away, and when you want to read it again, you just pick it up. They have these little boxes that you put all your comics and you store it in your shelves. I have tons of those around, and it had never bothered me because, but that means if you have it all in a thing, you have to have it in your hand. Okay, whatever.
All right. Well, okay, but
it depends on the publisher anyway.
All right. Keep in mind that the readers who want this are not like you. For instance, if you want to read an issue of Groo, you can sit right down and draw one faster than you can go pick one up and look for it. But there's people who are staggering around conventions to the extent you can even go to a convention these days, and they're looking for Groo number 14 or Groo number 23, and they would love to have a beautiful set with beautiful printing, better printing than some of these had in the first place.
Totally.
But I would agree with you. I don't understand. You know, I don't want to read a book that takes me, like, I have to get somebody to help me lift it up. Okay.
That's right.
So
what's wrong with a big one having 2 or 3 or 2 of them? You know, the logical size book,
well,
a Bible size book. You know,
you and I have not been happy with the proposals we've gotten for the size and particularly the price. We don't want to charge Groo fans
$100.
Yeah, so we are waiting for the right situation for a series of volumes that one can lift with one hand. And when that happens, we will be pleased to do it, and we'll recolor the early issues and make them look as good as they could possibly look. So anyway, that's the answer to your question for the 9,000 of you who wrote in to ask that one.
Yeah, but what's wrong with a 12-issue book?
Nothing's wrong with it.
12 issues, beautiful.
Well, actually, we've now done so many Groo stories that if we reprinted all of Groo in 12-issue volumes, that would be like 16 or 18 volumes.
So,
okay. Well,
you want to have 6 this big?
No.
They take the same space.
But if they but let's play devil's advocate here. If they've decided to bring out, 18 volumes of Groo, 2 a year, that's 9 years to have the whole set out.
But I realize I read a lot of things but once you read it all at once, they were never created to be read all at once. We do a comic book a month. If they tell me they're going to take that omnibus book and read one comic a month or one a week, that'd be fine. But if you keep reading 5 issues in a row, you realize that it took 6 more months to write that. Separating gags, writing stories to make them complete. If you read them together, it becomes repetitious. If we says
Groo repetitious, you mean that people might notice that we have him eating cheese dip a lot? They might notice that we have him saying he's slow of mind a lot.
If you say that, they will believe. One day, Mark Evanier wrote in a newspaper, "Well, Groo is one joke." As a joke, is one joke.
Yeah.
Groo is stupido and ruins everything. So a lot of people, believe it or not, they believe that the whole comic is the same old joke, which, by the way, probably it is, but it's not. So,
but first of all, number one, I meant that the same way that all superhero comics have the same plot.
right?
Every superhero comic has the same story, the same way, and also
That's a
you and I come out of a tradition. You spent what is it now? 60 years working for a magazine that billed itself as garbage and trash, and said that everybody who worked for it was an idiot, and people who bought it were buying garbage. Okay, did people believe that?
Yes.
Okay, well,
what the parents do. What the parents do when the kid gets with that and says, "Oh, that's garbage. That's pornographic." It says, "Wait a minute, it is not." Just because Kurtzman or Feldstein said it, it doesn't mean it. It's a humor. It's that very, very American humor of deprecating the individual. There's no other humor around the world that they have those put downs of actors and comedians that says, "We're going to roast somebody." And they insult them to death. And this is the guy sitting there going, yeah. And that type of humor doesn't happen all over the place. There's ways to laugh and ways to understand humor. But that humor that you tell to the guy in front of his face, like those boring, absurd comedians, they go in front of an audience and says, "Hey, you are a pucky head, blah, 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 blah." Yeah. That's not humor. That's insulting. But I guess a lot of people like to be insulted. We don't do that, do we, Mark?
Oh, shut up. No, they it depends on the people and the circumstances. I never thought Mad was cruel to people, but Mad was pretty nasty to some folks here and there. Mad, yeah. So I grew up on Mad. You made your living on Mad. I mean, it's part of our souls.
Yeah.
And I never thought Mad was evil or cruel to people.
He wasn't.
No. Well, but of course, you knew the people doing it, and you knew that they were nice people for the most part, and that they were sometimes mocking that which they loved. The premise of roasts, the premise of like TV roasts, like what Dean Martin used to do and such, was always like, we love this person, so we're going to make him the focus of a lot of jokes. And some people love that. I've written for roasts. I wrote jokes for some of the early Dean Martin roasts, actually. And the people who were being roasted clamored to be on that. They wanted so badly to have that attention, that they were important enough that everyone would line up to insult them, and of course lovingly so in most cases.
Well, let's call it then only all American humor.
Okay.
Which it takes a long time to understand, because humor is a way to satirize something, making it softer so you don't cry of shame, or you don't cry of embarrassment, or you don't sadden that you voted for the wrong person, that they are showing you what's wrong with certain things with humor. So you laugh a little, or you laugh better than crying about it. To just to feel better. Humor, the first thing is when you try to react. What is it? It's a reaction that gets you by surprise. What's a good gag? It's a gag that takes you out of your normality and makes you laugh or surprises you. So laughing is sort of like a defense mechanism of your brain when they tell you something that you didn't expect. So you go, ha ha ha. Babies do that because suddenly that's the only expression they can do to realize something that they're doing. When they get very scared, they laugh. You know? So humor is a defense mechanism to criticize something without putting in your face. These guys are stealing from you. They are doing that. No, it's not like that. What you say is, oops, you were distracted and this is what happened. Your house got totally burglarized. Ha 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 ha. You know, humor is very complicated. It takes a long time to achieve it. Many failures is because people are very good artists and they don't have a sense of humor, or people have a sense of humor and they don't know how to draw. They have to combine. It's complicated. We cannot solve it right now in a discussion right now. But humor should be subtle. Humor should be fun. But there's a lot of humor I don't understand, you know. So it's fine with me.
And a lot of it is in Groo the Wanderer.
All of it.
All right. Anyway, we have run out of time for this session. We will answer more questions next week on this. Say goodbye, Sergio. We will talk to you all another time, folks. Thank you for tuning in.